Hey there everyone, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. Thanks for joining me today for my review of Dead Island 2. Was it worth the wait? Before we get started, let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on Dead Island 2. Have you played the game, and if so, what did you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now let's cue up the music so we can talk about it. Now, everyone knows the story about what a troubled development cycle Dead Island 2 has gone through. It's been roughly 10 years and 3 studios since it was announced, and this is usually a bad sign for a game. I'm happy to say that in this case, the destination, well, it was worth the journey. Now let's get started with the characters and the story. So you can choose from 6 different characters that have some minor differences in their basic stats. They're called Slayers in the game. I've played through as 2 different ones so far, and I can say that those changes between the 2 Slayers, well, they were minor factors on how I played the game. All the Slayers are slightly unsavory, and each one talks a lot throughout the game, which can get a little bit annoying at times, but for the most part it's amusing. The voice acting's on point, so it's not too bad. Now, during the game, you'll encounter various NPCs throughout LA, and they often lampoon the LA archetypes with savage humor. You'll meet actresses, social media influencers, gym rats, stoners, simps, more as you progress through the game. Now, speaking of progressing through the game, let's talk about the story. Now, for me, this is the weakest element of Dead Island 2, and honestly, it doesn't negatively impact the experience in the least. The whole point of the game is to escape LA, or Hell-A as they call it, and everything your Slayer does pushes him or her towards that goal. There's a bit of a twist at the end. It's not a shocker or very surprising, but again, it really doesn't matter. I'm not playing Dead Island 2 for a thought-provoking story. I'm playing it so I can go out and kill thousands of zombies in the most gruesome ways I can imagine. Just picture a B-movie about zombies, and there's plenty of them in the game, and then sit down, grab a controller, and go be a part of that experience. Alright, let's talk about the mechanics of the game. Instead of the usual skill tree, Dead Island 2 uses a card-based system that offers more options as you explore the world and progress through the story. Finding cards that synergize with each other and complement your gameplay style can make a huge difference in combat, especially when you have the right weapons to work with as well. Check your cards often, new ones pop up with regularity, and feel free to change them out and experiment with different combinations. It doesn't cost you anything, it can be done on the fly at any time during the game, and it can be the difference between life and death in certain scenarios. Now, the way weapons work in Dead Island 2 is fantastic. In the early part of the game, you're restricted to only using melee weapons, and honestly, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. The variety of weapons that you find around the world feels limitless at times. Now, the weapons you do find and use will degrade over time, and eventually they need to be repaired, but don't worry about that. If you break your favorite flaming machete, you can make it as good as new at any of the many convenient workbenches located around LA. Not only that, but you can also spend cash to bring your weapons level up to match your own if you've progressed a bit and not replace that weapon with something new. Later on, you'll start to find a variety of guns, and these weapons, just like the melee ones, can be modified to cause a variety of environmental damage types. Dead Island 2 also employs a recognizable rarity system in the game, and as the rarity of the weapon increases, the number of mods and perks you can put on your weapons will grow as well. Now let's talk combat, and this is where Dead Island 2 really shines. You can have up to 8 different weapons on your weapons wheel, and while that might seem excessive at first, as you progress through the game, you'll appreciate the variety of ways you can take on the undead hordes. Some zombies are resistant to certain element effects, so being able to switch weapons on the fly can save your ass in a bad situation. You can shock, burn, melt, bleed, impact, and even traumatize zombies with weapons like axes, swords, baseball bats, nail guns, shotguns, rifles, and so much more. Then you have curveballs, which are an excellent way to either start up a fight or end one. These are consumable throwing weapons like Molotov cocktails, grenades, ninja stars, and more. They deal a variety of damage types and status effects, and they often synergize with weapons in different ways. A chem bomb will soak a zombie and stagger him. Follow that up with an electrified melee hit, and suddenly the zombie is frozen in place, dying from the electricity coursing through his body. Oh man, those are good times. The world of Dead Island 2 is rich with environmental hazards that your Slayer can exploit for his advantage. Pools of oil and water, canisters of oil, toxic sludge, car batteries, swimming pools, garden hoses, jugs of water, and exposed electrical cables can be used to dole out massive amounts of damage to zombies throughout the game. As you begin to get familiar with each new area you discover, you'll begin to recognize the hazards and be ready to use them. Now let's talk about Hell A itself. It's rendered in gorgeous, gory detail. Because the apocalypse just happened in this game, the blood is still fresh, most of the buildings remain standing, and there are still pockets of survivors hidden around the game. Dead Island 2 is not open world. It requires travel from one area to another, and that means a load screen. Now, it goes old school with this. There's no shimmying through broken walls or anything like that. You get a basic black load screen with a zombie in all of its bloody glory spinning around while you get a game hint at the bottom of the screen. On the PS5, this screen is barely on the monitor for a few seconds. On the PS4 Pro, it's there significantly longer and has the addition of a loading bar. But once you leave an area, however, you can return to it, and even fast travel there once you unlock that during your playthrough. This makes the non-open world feel much larger than it is. Each area is big enough to explore, varied in how it looks, and even the local zombies are dressed in a manner which makes sense for where you are. When you're in a hotel that's been taken over by the military, you face soldier zombies. When you're on Venice Beach, you have bathing suits and muscle shirts. It's a great touch that lends each region of the game its own unique personality. Now there are 24 main story quests, 33 side quests, 15 lost and found challenges, and a total of 84 various challenges in Dead Island 2. I recommend doing side quests and lost and found challenges as they pop up during your run through the story. The other challenges will complete to some degree as you play. Killing specific zombies, using certain weapons, etc. will get you account-wide bonuses that will apply to all your Slayers, so the next time you start a new game, your Slayer will be a little tougher and deal a bit more damage. I'm currently cleaning up the challenges I have yet to complete because I want to see how much fun my third character will have with all those bonuses applied right from the start. Finally, let's talk enemy variety and leveling. Zombies spawn in at various levels, and their levels are roughly based on your own. This is excellent because when you revisit previous areas, you will still face a challenge in combat. There are a wide variety of zombie types, each with unique strengths and weaknesses, and as you continue to fight them and take them down, you will unlock information about them in what's called a Zompedia. This will provide you and your Slayer with important intel on how to deal with them. Apex zombies are bigger, tougher, and have some crazy attacks that will test your Slayer's combat prowess. They are introduced through boss fights as you progress through the story, and once defeated, they will appear in the world as regular combatants. In the late game, you might find yourself facing up to several different types at the same time. Now, this can make things hairy, so keep your shotgun loaded and keep your axe sharp. Now, overall, I'd give this game a solid 9 out of 10. It doesn't break new ground, but what it does is deliver a solid game that gives you the most important thing a game can: fun. I've played a ton of zombie games, first-person shooter games and the like, and none of them have been as fun as this one. There's no difficulty adjustment, no performance mode or anything like that, and quite honestly, the game doesn't need it. It looks great, the sound design and the music are fantastic and complement the gameplay. The gameplay loop itself is fun and addictive, and the game just works as it is. If you're on the fence about this game, hop off, get the game, and start killing zombies. You will not regret it. Thanks for joining me today. Let me know what you think about Dead Island 2 in the comments section below. Was it worth the wait? Did it live up to the hype? Am I disturbed because I enjoy it so much? If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications for more Dead Island 2 content, including some endgame live streams coming up soon. Also, check out this video for some tips and tricks to get started. I'm Captain Beefy. This is the Game Vault. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.